Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to A Current Affair. Those stories soon. We begin with Australia's milk scandal. Tonight, the cut price war between supermarket giants and the dairy farmers facing financial ruin. It comes as one supermarket chain announced the launch of a new milk brand to help battling farmers. Brady Halls has been following the story and joins me now. Brady.
Yes, thanks, Trace. We love our cheap milk, but there's a price to be paid for a bargain, and our farmers are paying it. They can't make a quid, so they're walking off their farms. Now, if the Aussie dairy farms disappear, what does that mean for your morning cappuccino or the milk on the kids' cereal? Well, the cows aren't going to milk themselves, folks, so the milk is going to have to come from somewhere else. Drink milk? You'd better listen up.
It's a very demoralising situation for farmers.
D-Day has arrived on the dairy farm.
I just couldn't afford to keep milking them.
We've had it good for too long.
Milk, it ends up being cheaper than water. It's ridiculous.
And the farmers' kids know where tomorrow's milk will be coming from.
Milk, cheese, yoghurt, all those sort of dairy producers from overseas and import it.
When they're closing down dairy farms, we're all in trouble.
It's down and staying down every day.
A few years back, we all cheered when Coles and Woolworths introduced that cheap milk at $1 a litre. Much of the domestic market collapsed, so farmers were forced to sell overseas. But now that market has died off thanks to a worldwide oversupply. China, for one, just doesn't want as much from us.
It's devastating to so many farming families.
But the triple whammy that screwed dairy farmers and brought them to their knees is the massive recent cut to the price paid to farmers for their milk by the two largest processors. It can vary slightly from state to state, but take a look. It costs a farmer 38 cents to make a litre of milk. Up until a few weeks ago, they were paid just 42 cents a litre. But then came the latest price cut by processors, who will now pay dairy farmers 37 cents per litre, below cost. But they've made that cut retrospective. So, to pay them back, for the next 2 months, farmers will be paid a miserable 14 cents a litre for a product that cost them 38 cents. After an outcry from farmers, one processor has cancelled the retrospective aspect, but to many it's too little too late, and Dick Smith, for one, knows what'll happen and reckons he'll soon be choking on his cornflakes.
In fact, our milk will be coming from China. As ridiculous as that sounds, it'll be factory milk in effect. All the cows in sheds being fed with chemicals, all of our beautiful free-range cattle, you can forget that.
This is going to cause people to have to pack up their farms.
Erica Chesworth and her husband Steve are sixth-generation dairy farmers from Western New South Wales, but maybe not for much longer.
We feel like abused workers, some of the most abused in the Australian society.
2 weeks ago, the farm was running with 85 milking cows, and now it's got nothing.
Adam Nelson, for one, has packed up his dairy. He was the lonely dairy farmer seeking love on Farmer Wants a Wife.
Yeah, it's time to take the next step.
But this is the photo Adam Nelson has just posted of himself in his empty milking shed. And it wasn't the lack of love from a woman, but for his milk that has seen him walk away from his Victorian farm.
We work 365 days a year, a lot more hours than anyone else. A lot of dairy farmers don't take a wage, and the milk cheque is what covers your bills for the month.
For him, the processor's price cut was the straw that broke the cow's back.
You can't do this to people. You can't treat individuals like this from the corporation as they've done.
I'm worried how he's coping and how he's going to manage the farm all on his own.
Victorian schoolgirl Chloe Scott is just 16 and worried sick about Dad Brendan all alone on the family dairy farm.
There's not going to be much of it left if it continues the way it's going.
She and her mum have moved to a city to get work, while Brendan struggles to break even on their farm that's on the brink of collapse. And a teenager starts a petition to let the latte drinkers know the cows aren't going to milk themselves.
People look at it and say, awesome, $1 for a litre, and they don't stop to think that the impact that it's having, and you know, people are prepared to pay more for water or more for a coffee.
When Coles said that they were going to bring milk down to $1 as sort of a price leader to bring people into their shops, that was the start of the destruction.
So now, 5 years on, Coles has decided struggling farmers need help. After all, its customers want milk. So they've started up a fund to help them. But Dick reckons
It might be too late.
those that are left are saying it's now up to you to vote with your wallet and save our Aussie dairy farms.
Don't buy home brand Australia, support the Australian dairy farmer. If you want sustainable farming into the future, you must start buying branded products.
Yes, it's up to all of us now if we want to save our dairy industry and preserve the quality of our milk. Don't buy the discounted stuff. It is unfairly, stupidly cheap. And please read the label to make absolutely sure you buy Australian.